Welcome back to the grand finale of Rhapsody, a musical adventure. We're gonna knock out the rest of this playthrough here in this one part. So it's gonna be a little beefy. And we're here at the final dungeon. Different visuals here now. So we got something going on here. But of course, we still have some treasures we gotta collect, like illustration number 14. Man, it's a fine looking illustration. Alright, so continue onward with this dungeon. Yep, this is, well, we got a random encounter here. And those monsters might look familiar. They are, indeed, puppets, or recolors of our... Well, some of them got, different sprite differences, too. But, for the most part, they're just like our puppets. Which we will be seeing those shortly. But yeah, if you're wanting to grind, there you go. Well, I mean, I'm already at level 81 with Cornet there, so... I did a lot of grinding when it came to, doing the quests for the other puppets. Sorry, I was just, staring at that doorway. But, yeah, the final dungeon, nothing too fancy. Just like any other dungeon, you know. I do recommend having a guide open for these dungeons. It helps things go a little bit smoother. Because you can easily... Like I've been saying throughout this whole playthrough, I know it gets really, really old. And I keep repeating the same thing over and over again, but... The dungeons are so easy to get lost in. That I just recommend having a guide. I mean, eventually you're going to find your way, don't get me wrong. But it's just easier to have the guide open so you know where all the treasures are, which way you're going. That's, you know, we live in the age of the internet, so we can do that. Though I am interested, I wonder if there was ever a strategy guide released for this game. Maybe. Also, we do got new music, too, as well, I forgot to mention, so that's really nice. It is the final dungeon, you know, you want to get all epic and whatnot. You know, and despite what I say about the dungeons in this game, this is by far nowhere as bad as Final Fantasy 13-2's final dungeon. Oh my god. And maybe 15 years down the road, I'll get to that game. Level up. But really, I really think that those monsters are the only times we really face in this dungeon. I guess their philosophy was, what can we throw them at them that would be very intimidating? How about a little bit of sprite differences? You know, something that you're familiar with. Makes sense. Though I am curious, going by the sequels, if, these, puppets play any hand with, what we're familiar with. If I'm sure I'm making sense. So, it's one of those words I'm making sense. But to talk about it, because I'm sure I overglanced it, and this floating facility was part of the ancient people. And going really into it, I don't think it's mentioned a whole lot, but Cornet's mother well, at the time of this game, she's basically the only person left of that entire race. Until the sequel. So, and then it's up to 2 people. 3 and 4 if you want to count her descendants, with Cornet and then, in the sequel, Cornet's daughter. Spoiler alert. She has a daughter. But all of this will be touched up in the sequel, and the sequel, now unlike 13-2, I plan to get to the sequel of this game a little bit sooner than 15 years. And I am right back where I started. Even with the guide, I'm lost. Because I'm just that kind of person. We already saw that rectangle cover. Okay. So, the sequel, it's interesting. It is. It improves on some things, and it doesn't in some aspects, in my opinion. It is a Japanese exclusive, so there is going to be a language barrier. Luckily, there is at the time of this recording, there is a translation. Not a patch translation, but there is a script translation. So I'm kind of determining how I'm going to go carrying out this particular playthrough. But that's not. But we're jumping the gun here, because who knows? Maybe I'll never get to it. Life is kind of funny, but I would really like to get to it at some point, because I do want to get to the Disgaea games, and because I'm a weirdo, I want to go through these as they come. Because I tend to like to do things in chronological order. But with the Disgaea games, I want to go with release order. It makes much more sense. More so because when it comes to Disgaea, I would have to play Disgaea 5 first. And I am actually one of the few Disgaea games I'm not familiar with as of right now. Also, that's a very pretty dragon statue. And see, look, the dungeon, you know, this is what I mean. You know, the dungeon spiced it up. We have a room that's outside the walls. Doesn't last long, but you know, it's a little something. That's Dragon's Claw. That's, I think that's going to be a very fine weapon. Let's take a look at it. Oh yeah, that's 20. Which is very, very nice. See if there's some equipment there. Just checking what I got. Alright, enough of that. Okay, yeah, I don't think there was anything back down that hallway. Or was there? Nope, it was a dead end. Just like I thought, just thought I'd show it off. Because I'm weird. Ooh, well look at this room. And there's one missing. Ooh. But yeah, apparently those were... They are, it was stated those were the weapons created by the ancients. Which we did fight one. Which was used during the war, I do believe. Or after, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not too familiar when it was used. It was used at some point. Speaking of... I think we might have forgot something. Well, not forgot. Well, when I was doing the playthrough, I forgot about it at this point. But then I reached to this room, I was like, wait a minute, I'm forgetting something. But, through the clever use of editing and cutaways, we are now back at the Netherworld. Now, we did come across this, but we couldn't do anything. That's because we have to have these 3 guys in our party. I mean, there was a whole room we passed full of them. Why didn't you guys come out then? Oh, one at a time, I guess. So yeah, we have to have these guys to help us out with this battle. I believe he's just this guy is the exact same thing he was when we fought before. I could be wrong, which is entirely possible. Heavy damage. And unfortunately, I haven't really trained these guys up like I trained everybody else because laziness. But that will change whenever I get to the DS version, which I really do, which I have mentioned many times. I'm like a broken record. I'm pretty sure. Excalibur! Just a power-up spell. Nothing fancy. Jesus, Cornet. Doing that heavy hitting damage. You know, just keep whacking them, just like any other boss. But this is how we fulfill these guys' mini quests, side quests, puppet quests, soul quests, quests. Oh no, not the storm! Golden fire! Fire! Some light tapping damage here. Alright. Get some level ups here. But that concludes the last of that, unfortunately, because we didn't do flares. Because I'm a bad person. He sealed our power. No. So yeah, that's their backstory. They were created to defeat the ancient weapons, but I guess their powers were sealed because he thought they couldn't do it. Which is, yeah, that's a thing. Which will actually be touched on in the third game. From what I gathered. At the time of this recording, I have not played the third game. Played the sequel. Beaten the sequel. But haven't played the third game. Which actually, fairly certain I did mention it before, is the one out of the three that I'm actually looking forward to the most. And I think it's the better, the better of the three games. In my opinion. This is also the dead end. We're getting closer to it now. Sorry, past me. Cornet just does not blink if that's what you're waiting for. She just has that 1,000-yard stare. No, this is a very interesting design. We'll actually come back to this place in the sequel, too. Very interesting enough. I think we're coming up to the final room here. Yeah, because this is an empty room, and then this other one's an empty room. For some reason. Alrighty. So now comes basically a boss gauntlet. Sort of, kind of. Whamp, whamp. Alright. Now we're facing all four of these at once. So let's do our pancake attack. Knock out some of them there. The other three actually shouldn't be too much of a hassle. It's Marjorie. Or Marjorie, I don't know how to pronounce it. The Witch. The Witch is going to be the one that gives you trouble. As she backhands you. no physical effects, just like that. Well, along with my final attack. That was it. That's the first one. No, we're already getting there. This is my true power. Stop. You licked the toilet, dude. I don't think you have any room to talk. Oh, this one's blue. Alright, so we got a CPU battle. And you can see her stats right there, that's pretty interesting. Maybe we can hack her into the... Like, if we had a game chart, maybe we can hack her into our party. But this guy's blue, so, you know, he's tougher than the red ones. Or... is he... But yeah, she is. She's actually a pretty tough cookie. With my ultimate? No, she's just. She doesn't have the brains to match, as shown here. Oh, so Crow Woman over there is related to her. Sorry, her name escaped me at that time. Alright, let's save here. So now it's time to go to round 2. I don't think you can talk to anybody here. You can step all over her, though. No. Good old Prince reviving us. Oh, okay, we can talk to him. We just can't talk to her. Because she's unconscious, but we can step all over her, which is kind of funny. For the ruler, sure. You truly are the ruler of this world. Alright. Now it's our turn to fight this thing. Along with some of his minions. Which I'm assuming is also ancient weapons. Jack! Gigastorm, uh-oh. Some, hard-hitting damage there. And you don't have to be this high of level to beat it. I mean, obviously, it'll be easier on you if you are high leveled up, and I do recommend that, so that way you have the HP pool to withstand some attacks. But, I mean, as you can see with Tail, with the right equipment, he's only level 50, and he's doing some major damage, too. And powering up, Cornet can also power the puppets. Not the poo-poos, the puppets. Oh. Plot twist. He wasn't really blue. He was gold. Guru? Our friends have come to help us. Alright, final boss battle. With some dramatic music. And she just easily took that thing out with this one shot of the gun. Alright, obviously he's the final boss, so he's gonna be a little tough. He takes a little bit more to take, you can't just run up and smack him. You gotta run up and smack him a few times. Just hit him with your hard-hitting attacks, and he'll go down eventually. But this is some pretty dramatic music. Pretty good, though. Along with this final attack! Sorry, old joke. Alright, it's getting old, I should say. It's not even a joke. It's just me saying stuff with a weird voice. Well, we already got him, looks like, halfway. Or, not halfway just yet. Smacking him in the face here. In this alternate dimensional battlefield place. Wait, you can actually escape from this battle? Really? I doubt it. I'm sure it says, oh no, you can't do that. But that's it. That was the final boss of the game. So now the rest is just the conclusion. Oh, look at this guy running. And he will never be seen again. Actually, he will be. Alright, so they're gonna leave us alone. It's time to wake the prince up from his sleep. His slumber. His petrification. No. It worked! He's just so puzzled. Dude just tries to walk away. Well, I mean, it's not all your fault, Cornet, to be fair. But you only know me for like an hour, tops. But hey, sometimes love truly is that way, I'm sure. And going by the sequels, I mean, they lasted many, many, many years, till death do them part. No. And immediately we go to the wedding. And as you can see, I can see some of the fine people we met throughout this adventure, including some of our rivals. Which is kind of nice, I'm not gonna lie. Nope. To the after party. So we are officially married to the prince. Things seem to be right with the world. Well, yeah, obviously because the, well, the wall's always been fixed. So she fixed the wall before all this. Like, immediately she fixed the wall. Huh. So, the castle themselves didn't fix the wall. She did, like, literally after doing it. Instead of doing it now because she had a change of heart. Okay. I think that's an oversight. Oh, thank you, random soldier number 556612. Oh, gotta go to the restroom. Gotta go back to town. This is just silly that they let you do this. But where we want to go is through here. No. Really touches you. Touches you right here. No. She's not wrong, though. She is gonna fulfill that promise. And then Kururu is back to a regular puppet. Oh, and what is this? And we have credits. Alright. So, that's Rhapsody, a musical adventure. Like Mystic Quest, it is... What's the proper way of saying it? I do like the game. Don't get me wrong. Whatever cons I did have for the game as a whole, I do enjoy the game at the end of the day. It's very fun. I don't go back to it often. But, you know, I'll catch myself as like, hey, maybe I'll do that. Well, not since I had the DS version. Now I kind of ignore the PS1. But the reason I did the PS1 version is because I just had no means of getting the captured DS footage at this time. Wasn't 100% like I wanted to, unfortunately. But we are going to remedy that with the DS version whenever we get down to that road. Poor Flair. I feel so bad for him. But Rhapsody, oh yeah, like I was saying, like Mystic Quest, it can be dull. Well, okay. In terms of a more enjoyable time, I would put this above Mystic Quest. But I do think it does have faults that is similar to Mystic Quest. More so with the dungeons. Like, the dungeons were fairer than Mystic Quest at the very least. The dungeon in this game was not so great, truth be told. But the premise of the game is very not, you know, it's cute. You know, it's a musical, and it does have musical numbers. And this is something that does play up in the sequel, along with the third game. And then not late preceded Ragnarok, or however you pronounce the game. There's another game after that. But they did a spiritual successor to a PSP game of this, which does carry on the musical legacy. And you know what? I think that's something that games need to have more of, musicals. Of course, you know, they'd be rhythm games at that point, so... But you never really had anything like this that was not a rhythm game, but had musical numbers and was a musical. It was a nice little RPG. I do recommend if you do want to go out and play this game, play the DS version. It has a better battle system. It uses it follows the sequels with its battle system. It's more not mainstream. It's more. Oh, what am I trying to say? It's more. I can't think of the terminology. I'm blank. I'm at a blank. But it's more straightforward. There we go. It's more straightforward. It doesn't have the whole grid system like this one is. We wouldn't see the grid system back until Ragnarok. Which, for the Rhapsody games, I think the system they go on with the second and third game fits better with the series, truth be told. Because the grid-based thing does match more with the Disguise combat. But, Rhapsody Musical Adventure, it's a good game. The PS1 version, though, funny enough, is the only time where you're going to have English lyrics. The DS version is just the straight Japanese version. So that's unfortunate. So, I do see a strength of, if you want to play the PlayStation version, for the English songs, along with the monster capturing, because I don't believe you can do that in the DS version. It's like, there's a bestiary now. You just fight the monsters and you can't, get the info that way, which I think I prefer that much better anyway. But that's my opinion. But yeah, Rhapsody Musical Adventure, it's really interesting to see where this guy's roots come from. I believe that Cooking Fighter How is where it starts. But this is where the gameplay and some of the death comes from. Like, there's more death here. There's death, but there isn't at the same time, if that makes sense. Like, it has its optional battles, but, most RPGs at this time had optional battles, so I don't know what I'm going at. But it is really interesting to go back, like with Naughty Dog is another example, like, how they're famous with their current video games and whatnot, to go back and see them, like, in Way of the Warrior. It's interesting to see roots. It really is. And there's nothing wrong with going back playing old games, just to see where it all starts. And hey, you know what? Sometimes the old runs are better. Now, obviously, there's new games that are fantastic, don't get me wrong. Like at the time of this recording, the new Crash Bandicoot game was looking fantastic. Or looking fantastic. It is, yeah, it looks fantastic. The game's already out. But, yeah, this is Rhapsody Musical Adventure. Not going to get to the sequel just yet. I have a bunch of, not a bunch, but I have quite a few playthroughs that actually got done recorded. So we're going to try to knock them out. And next up is going to be some good old classic arcade goodness.
Thank you, Kururu.
Thank you, Kururu.
Thanks, Mom.
NIS. You're a good company. I love you guys. You make some games out of question, Criminal Girls, but you're a good company. No. First comes love, second comes marriage, and then here comes Cornet with a baby carriage. I think this is her mom being reincarnated, but going by the sequels, I'm not too sure about that. I wonder what that name is. Yeah. Well, we're gonna see that. Well, it's Kuru, but we're gonna see that in the sequel and her misadventures. But this has been Dishamon Pal. This is a Rhapsody Musical Adventure. Hope you guys had a good time. I did. And I look forward to playing the next playthrough for all two of ya. So catch you later, and remember, just play video games. Video games are cool.